And turning to the war in Ukraine, Russian forces say they have full control now of the eastern region. Moscow's troops capturing the final Ukrainian holdout in the area. The slow but relentless assault has leveled cities and towns, leaving a trail of destruction. Kieran McQuillan reports for NewsNation in Lviv. He has the latest on Putin's punishing conquest.
The creaking Ukrainian front line in the Luhansk finally gave way today. In all likelihood, the Ukrainians that were there defending the city of Lysychansk had left well before the statement appeared on the Ukrainian army Twitter page. Now, in a regretful statement, they said that the decision was made in the face of superior Russian firepower and to save the lives of Ukrainian defenders in that city. Now, so important was the news that Russia now had total control of the Luhansk region that the Russian Defense Minister, Sergei Shoigu, delivered the news in person to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Russian forces are now one step closer to their stated aim of capturing the entire Donbass region. Now it is the turn of other Ukrainian-held cities in the Donetsk region which are in Russia's sightlines, such as Sloviansk. The mayor of that city saying today that it came under intense Russian shelling, 15 fires as a result and 6 people losing their lives. If Russia is to claim the entire Donbass, the stated aim of their forces, Russia will need to take Sloviansk as well as its sister city of Kramatorsk to the south. Ukraine may have bought some time to shore up the defences of those two cities by hanging on to the defence of Lysychansk for such a long time. Meantime, a military gain for Ukrainian forces over in the Russian-controlled city of Melitopol. The Ukrainian mayor saying that one of 4 Russian bases in that city destroyed after 30 strikes were heard there today. Meanwhile, Turkish customs officers have detained a Russian-flagged ship that Ukraine says is carrying grain stolen from Ukrainian supplies. Back to you, Natasha.
All right, thank you so much. And we do want to bring in Hal Comfort now to understand more about tonight's horrific attacks. He is the CEO of Global Risk Intelligence and Planning and a retired Marine intelligence officer. Hal, as always, thank you so much for your time. Now, ever since the war started, we've heard about how strong the Ukrainian army has been in its defense, but also that in an extended period of battle like this, the situation favors Russia. So what is your assessment on where things stand now?
Well, Russia has put a tremendous amount of firepower in that eastern region, the Donbass region. They have pretty much secured the Luhansk province as of today. The Ukrainians have been fighting a smart war. They don't have the amount of artillery that the Russians have or multiple launch rocket systems. They do have some very advanced Western weaponry, but the Russians basically just pummel every place they go. So the Ukrainians inflict as much damage on the Russians, but also preserve their forces. Over the long run, the Ukrainians are setting themselves up for counteroffensives in the future. And frankly, the Russians are using up a lot of ordnance. They just don't have the ability to resupply.
Yeah, I appreciate that perspective. And, you know, we've seen these repeated appeals to the West for more aid. Do you think this is an effective and sustainable strategy for Ukraine, especially in this moment where so many Americans are weary because of the economic impact we have here at home?
Well, there is some Ukraine fatigue, not just here in the U.S., but also over in Europe. But there was a reaffirmation with the G7 and certainly with NATO that everybody's going to go to the mat to support Ukraine as long as it takes. Also, there's a recognition that the war in Ukraine is holding Russia at bay. Russia has a broader plan. They want to expand throughout the region. As much damage as can be inflicted on the Russian armed forces, the less likely they are to be able to attack somewhere else.
And Hal, can I ask, we're also tracking the situation of multiple Americans in Russian custody, of course, WNBA player Brittany Griner, as well as the 2 men who went to fight there. So how do you think these individuals are being used as leverage?
Basically, they're pawns. Russia's going to try and get as much as they can. Certainly with Brittany Griner, they already have somebody identified, the famous arms trafficker, Victor Bout, who was the Nicolas Cage character, if you will, what that was based on in the movie Lord of War. Very famous Russian arms trafficker. They've already made entrees, if you will, that they'd like to swap her for him. However, what they want to do is they want to convict her in court so they can make it seem like it's a criminal trade for a criminal trade. Basically, she's going to be convicted. The same with the other hostages, or I should say prisoners. They're using them for trades. That's really what they are. They're just pawns.
Yeah, whether it's a fair trade is another question entirely, right, Hal? Thank you so much for your insights. Thank you so much for your time, as always.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.